I have 35 minutes. Perfect. Okay. Hey there, everybody in the World Wide Web. Welcome to my podcast. Music, movies, comedy, and eating ass and comic books. Welcome to my podcast. Welcome to my podcast. Get out of my face, dog. My dog is in my face. I'm trying to record a podcast. Welcome to my podcast. This podcast is going to be about how much I love the Your Mom's House podcast. It's a podcast about a podcast. I haven't recorded one of these in a while, and I'm feeling a little weird. It's funny because I might, if I do get sincere or get sentimental, it'll be funny because they make fun of that a lot on their podcast. The Your Mom's House podcast is a podcast by Tom Segura and Christina Pazsitzky, and they're two comedians, and they're married, and they talk about life and stuff in farts and shits and coming and like retarded stuff. They talk about retarded people. But the whole point, so they have a thing called the White Bummer movie. This isn't going to be a White Bummer movie. But I was having they say they hate White Bummer movies. And they're the worst, man. They're movies like, the kind of movies that are just there to make you like feel good about your life, but not in like a positive way, like an empowering way. But I don't know. Who am I to say? There's just a fucked up, like, torture porn aspect. It's like a more emotional porn. And there's an aspect of it that's kind of weird. Anyway, I was just having a rough year last year, and at the beginning of last year, I can't exactly remember when. I guess in January. Yeah, probably January of 2016. I was listening to the Joe Rogan Experience, and Tom Segura was on an episode, and he was so funny. I was like, I just want to listen to all these guys' episodes. And he was on with his wife too, with the Your Mom's House podcast, and then they talked about Your Mom's House podcast. I checked it out, and I fell so in love with it. It was just so good, and like, it's actually the reason I started a podcast, because I saw like you could just be super honest in different ways. It would just I don't even know how to explain it. Their podcast is so good, and it really made me just think about. It made me laugh a lot. I'll just say that. Like, so I spent the whole year, and they had like 300 and something episodes by the time I got to them, and I spent all of last year listening to them all. I listened to them all. I caught up eventually. I'm 4.5 behind. But I'll catch up. I will listen to them. It's so funny. It's the funniest show, I think. It's funnier than it's like South Park funny. I just love it so much. To me, it's like an institution of like, it's perfection. Your Mom's House podcast is. It's so good. I love the dynamics of it, the honesty of it, the intimacy of like this couple talking, and it's just really cool stuff. And spending that year listening to them all taught me so much about myself and about my life and about what I needed to do. And they're still such influential people in my lives. Like right now, I have to read 2 books per month. That's just kind of a goal I set. Because Christina Pazsitzky, I heard her talking about reading, and she's like, you don't always have to fucking like everything you do. Like, life isn't always about just enjoying every second. There's things you do to just benefit yourself. And I just wasn't really reading any books. So I've been reading 2 books a month, and I've caught up with it. I mean, there was one month where I think I read one I finished one a couple days after, or some shit like that. I don't know. It's evened out that I've read 2 books a month so far, though. and I'm going to finish one today. So it'll actually be like I have an extra book. But it really has helped me in my life so much. I love reading books. And it's just something I have to force myself to do because I don't do it naturally. It's like working out. But anyways, I'm going to talk about 9 things. And I know it's narcissistic or whatever. But like this whole series of the I love whatever, Chuck Palahniuk, whatever. It's just to kind of showcase the things that get me going, the things that I really love. In this podcast, Your Mom's House podcast, is the reason I started my podcast. I mean, I had tried before, but it wasn't until I saw that I saw like the potential of like the goofiness and the silliness. And I'm a really goofy guy and silly guy, so for me to just, I'm not being about that right now really, but you know, just to be however you feel whenever, I don't know. It's just started this podcast, so I wanted to make a podcast about it. The 5th episode in my I Love series, because I do love. I'm a fan. I'm a love, and it's really fun. I'm a lover, dude, and it's funny because I don't know. I love the show too because they make fun of so much of the stuff I love. Like I love Bruce Springsteen. They make fun of Bruce Springsteen a lot. I like Frank Sinatra a lot. I don't know if I love Frank Sinatra, but I could see myself loving him if I knew his music better. And they make fun of Frank Sinatra a lot. They make fun of a lot of things I do, like playing guitar and like, you know, it's just funny to like Christina Pajitsky is just like, we'll make fun of like guys writing songs for girls and stuff like that. And it's like what I do. And I love that, being able to like make fun of parts of who I am, or that it's all rooted in fun and it's all about love. And that sounded so stupid. It's all about love, dude. I just meant like, making fun of stuff doesn't mean you hate something or doesn't mean that you dislike something. It just means you're making fun of it. And if people have opinions, it's cool to hear them, and hearing them in a funny, joking form. What am I talking about? I don't know. I'm really stoned. I really, really like Your Mom's House podcast. And I took 3 shits today. So that, I think, is a good day for me to record this podcast, if you know anything about them. But this podcast not going to probably make any... I don't know what this one's going to be. So, like, if you go to thejohnweitz.com and you go there to the website itself, plus the merch section, are like totally revamped after becoming a fan of that show, because I really saw like their work ethic. Their work ethic is incredible. And to listen to like 5 or 6, 7 years, however long that podcast was, and to do that over a year's time, and to see like their growing success, and to see their growing talents too and skills, it was so, they're growing, they're growing talents and abilities. It was so inspiring just to be like, oh my God, like look at how fucking hard it is they work. And, you know, with them I don't think they do anymore, but like them mailing stuff out for years, they were mailing out like all their merch and all that kind of stuff. And bands do that, but it was just to see like a first-hand account of it. So I switched out my website and I got merch, because I never really saw the point. I mean, I saw the point of merch, but I never really liked merch. But I wanted Your Mom's House merch, and I was like, you know what? If I want Your Mom's House merch, that means that there's got to be some value to merch for me, because I need to have value for me in something in the John Weitz. So I went and I reprinted everything that's ever been done at the John Weitz. Is up on the website. You can't get the hats, but everything else you can get. I might reprint the hats. Everything else will just be a one-time printing, but I'm pretty sure. But it was just cool to get all that taken care of, because it's a big step of being like a modern-day artist, and that you have to do that stuff. You have to do that stuff. You have to take care of things that people used to do in the past, because there's just a ton more of us out there, and it's just a cool thing to get that in order, and to be ready to like be playing shows where I'm selling t-shirts and have stickers and actually have merchandise stuff, because perception means a lot, and it just really does. And I can think merch is silly, and I don't anymore, but you know, for all those years I could have thought that, but it's like I should have been selling merch and getting email addresses and stuff like that. It wouldn't have And it's always like a worry of like me getting off track of like the main thing, which is making music and making these albums. Like, oh, if I add too much stuff on the plate, what's that gonna do? But I don't know. I'm able to do it now. I don't know if I could have done it when I was younger. But so I'm really happy about that, getting that fucking website stuff and merch stuff taken care of. Shit, poop. They talk about poop and shitting a lot, and they really, like, when I first started, because I started watching them on YouTube, and when I first started watching them, I would be like eating food, like maybe made some salmon salad or whatever I'm eating, and they all start talking about pooping, and I'll be like, just so grossed out, just pause it, change, watch them, like, watch The Flash, watch, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, watch something else that's like not gross. Go back to Your Mom's House, finish that. But eventually got to the point where I was watching it and I'm just like, fuck it, I'll just keep eating because I like the show. So they got me way more comfortable talking about poo, talking about shits, talking about farts in just a way that I really wasn't before. And I think that's healthy and good because they're natural things to do. So the Bristol stool chart, they talk about the Bristol stool chart and what your quality of your shit is, and it really matters. And like I said, I took 3 shits today. They were all really good shits. I'm doing this like intermittent dieting, and it's weird as fuck. I'm shitting like a motherfucker, dude. There's just sometimes when you shit a lot, and it's just great. It's really wonderful. Unless it's so much that your butt hurts from the wiping, but then it's not fun. But otherwise, it's great. But so getting more comfortable with shit, that's awesome. I love that. Health. Tom Segura's lost like 50 pounds, and he started this whole like fat shaming, bird is fat kind of thing. And I don't know if I had started this podcast before or after that. I think just right around there. Regardless, it's really helped me with my weight loss stuff. I mean, I've definitely been kicked off the horse a few times. August was really tough, and I've been doing good for the last like week or so. So I'm feeling better. I think a little bit, maybe more than a week. I don't know. I've been working out, but just eating a lot and eating really poorly. And on last Saturday, I was just like, I'm not going to eat for 24 hours. I'm like so addicted to sugar right now. I can't. It was like I couldn't. It was so compulsive to just eat sugar. And I was like, I'm just going to not eat for 24 hours. And I did. And it kind of, I feel like, reset myself. And I've been working out, but eating, but now like I can feel the weight loss. But anyways, it's just like about fat shaming and like, like they were just making fun of Bert Kreischer, this comedian, and him being overweight, and Tom Segura being overweight, and he looks great now. And I actually was on his fucking Instagram because I lost weight. He lost weight. He looked. I wish I would have lost more weight for my picture, is what I meant to say. But like, he retweeted my picture of before and after showing us, and I wish I would have done a better job because it was like early in the morning, and if I would have done, or it was right that night after I met him again, because he played Reno, and I saw him in Sacramento like last March, so like in a year and a half time, or a year and a couple month time, I took the picture, But it was just really cool. Like, he looks so different, and it was really cool. And I was on his Instagram, actually. So Health, he, like, retweeted it. And that's cool, too. That's cool inspiration to, like, keep fitness going, too. Making fitness, as they call it, on the show. But that's really cool. Like, I just feel like it's true. And to be more goofy and be, again, having fun with fat. Having fun with, like, it is bad to be fat. And it's not good to be fat. Like, what are you joking about? Are we going to kid ourselves that it's just like this thing that we're okay with? Like, it's not okay to smoke cigarettes. People know that. There's health consequences. And the same, you shouldn't be shamed or hated for being fat or for smoking cigarettes, but like, we should at least know and be honest. And being fat is aesthetically less pleasing than smoking cigarettes, probably. But whatever. I'm glad to be making fitness more and thinking about my food. And sometimes when I'm off the track, they'll say something on that show and it'll get me on the track even more, which I love. Anywho's, and he's on the Joe Rogan Experience and they talk about his weight and it's cool. Weight's been a big deal for me my whole life. Obviously, if you've listened to any of the episodes of this podcast, I probably talk about it. I have a thing called Waist Update. Did you eat great? Did you eat like shit? I'm about Waist Update. I've been eating good, but also eating things interspersely that are unhealthy so that I don't just like binge out, because I was trying to do the whole like I eat clean for 5 days, eat dirty for 1, eat clean for 5 days, dirty for 1. Dirty, but you know what I mean, like eating whatever I want on one. I don't know, it didn't really work out. So, I don't know. It didn't really work out. It was too much like the taste of the old life. Like, you just have this day, and then one day would turn into 2, would turn into 3, would turn into like 4, and I just had a rough August. But I feel like I'm on track again, getting to my body. I don't even have big arms, but I'm trying to get my body fat lower. It's working. Teeth, getting my teeth cleaned at the beginning of this podcast. That's a huge thing they talk about. Teeth, they have a thing called dental update. When I first started this podcast, my teeth were really yellow as fuck. They're still yellow, but they're clean. I'm going to get them whitened before I shoot my music video next month, or the month after next month. I'm going to get my teeth whitened and my teeth cleaned again, because you got to do it every 6 months. And I know now why. I used to be like, why would you do that? Because I was just like, ugh, so gross how my teeth were. Ugh, so gross. Anyways, I just didn't take care of my teeth, and then making fun of it and making fun of people who had bad teeth and all that kind of stuff inspired me to go get my teethies as they call them, teethies, taken care of and fixed and cleaned, and I have a couple cavities that still need to go get done. I'm glad I just thought of that. But yeah, teeth, the dental updates is a big deal. And they talk about that kind of stuff with show business. Like, they talk about that aspect of like having nice teeth, looking good. Like, that's just a part of show business, and they kind of are like very matter-of-factly about it, and I like that. It's a real window into like show business and how comedy works, but I think comedy's like a microcosm of how it really all works in a way. I mean, there's some more leniency with comedy, but there's people like Kevin James, that's like a big guy, and he's on TV too, but he's a comic. I think he started out as a comic, so... but you just see this thing. But he's also bald and he's got a toupee. So it goes back to that whole, like, there's a level of superficiality of, like, getting on screen. And maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, Christina Pazsitzky makes fun of, like, Christina Pazsitzky, like, makes fun of, like, I don't want to see that person on TV. Like, come on, like, get the fuck off. Like, you're whatever. And it's funny. I think she makes fun of Guy Fieri, like how there's no fucking women as ugly as Guy Fieri on TV. Reading, I talked about that, like reading, I didn't read before, and it's like, this show helped me how to read. I'm glad, because she reads a lot, and I'm glad that became a New Year's resolution, and it's almost September, and I kept up with it, and it's cool and fun. And I'm sorry I say and so much times. This show is a real examination of a lot of my behaviors. See, I said I stopped myself from saying and I said instead. Teeth, funny. Funny was one of my points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Funny, I guess, is one. Oh, I guess that is like the whole point about like something being funny and having fun with it and not taking yourself too seriously. Okay, I'll deal with that. Mental health. Christina Pazsitzky's talks about mental health stuff a lot. She's got a podcast called That's Deep Bro, and she, kind of really inspired me to think about that more too. I mean, a lot of people have, like Maria Bamford and different people too. Also, like Scott Snyder, the comic book writer. But in particular to Your Mom's House podcast, like her whole thing about seeing a therapist and just, mental health issues running in family, her having mental health issues, or her talking about them at least. And that's just a cool thing when people are open. people like Mark Maron or whoever are open about that kind of stuff, because I think it just makes you feel less alone, and it's something I can really relate to. Like I get really really bad depression sometimes. Like when I was on one of these huge sugar binges, I was so depressed, and that was one of the reasons why I didn't eat for 24 hours, because I was like, I gotta fucking, like, what's going on? And it's like, oh, I've been eating like shit. Maybe that's it. But I was like really, really down on myself. Like, you failed this fucking year. I was like so mad at myself. You failed. You got an F. And I was like, maybe I got a C right now, okay? And I can squeak out with a B plus if I work really hard. That's good. And so it's weird, those things, those little cycles and things that you go through. And jeez, I can't believe how much you say. But mental health, that's deep, bro. Bringing that shit into the light, being honest about feelings, that's cool. I'm talking about filming on me. Y'all know I'm talking about you filming on me. Feel me? Know I'm talking about not me. Okay, there we go. Jeans up. My jeans, literally, let's see if I can do this. Where are my jeans at right now? They're not fucking high and tight enough. There we go. But, look, I'm working on it, alright. It'll hopefully be better, but one day. My fucking jeans were always like below my ass, dude, forever. And this podcast was like an expression. You got to keep your jeans up, and jeans are life, when you're in love, you share the same pair of jeans. That's how it is. Like, jeans is everything. And getting your life and keeping your jeans up, these are just like expressions that are cool. But literally, I became way cognizant and way conscious of fucking keeping my jeans up, and it's something I do a lot more. Like pulling my jeans up. They used to always be so low. And it looks so much better having your jeans up. I mean, it looks so much fucking better, dude. Motherfuck. So I'm really thankful that, like, a lifelong bad habit of having saggy Tupac-esque jeans, not Tupac-esque, just like wannabe Tupac jeans, was the bad habit I got into in junior high, and then it just kept going. And I'm just so fucking glad to, like, now, okay, it's like, yeah, it's adult time to fucking pull your jeans up high and tight, get your shit together. Getting your life is another thing they talk about a lot, from like Tamar Braxton and the Braxton family. But like, getting your life, dude, is just that. I mean, I don't know. So it's a cool thing to like think about. Like, again, going back to the funny aspect, or the funny, oh shit, man, like, I need to get my life. I'm fucking in bed crying about whatever shit I can't control, about, shit I can control, shit I can and can't control, and not doing anything about it. So it's like, it was cool I'm trying to get my life, is what I'm trying to say. Last and not least on this podcast of the 9 things, 9 being money, 2 being funny, 3 being health, 4 being poop, 5 being teeth, 6 being reading, 7 being jeans up, 8 being mental health. And they also have like crazy people on the show a lot. Like a lady that's called Danny, and she thinks she's talking to Hitler. She makes these YouTube videos where she's talking to Hitler. I mean, she's like legitimately, has some kind of schizophrenic behavior, or is schizophrenic or whatever. And 9 is love, because they're in love, and they talk about love. And there's some show that they watch. They used to talk about like the TV, they still do sometimes talk about the TV shows they watch together, but there was some show they were watching, and it's like a show about dating, and I don't know what it is, But it's like at the end of it, the lady goes like, "It's a match," and they were talking the story about like how she was talking about how like happy he would get when it would be a match or something like that. And I really respect Tom Segura, and so to sort of see her talking about like his softer side or his more romantic side really opened up, which was years of being more closed off to the ideas of love, or even just sort of opening myself up to being in a relationship and just kind of being maybe embittered even by these ideas. Like to be like, oh, well, I fucking love Tom Segura. I respect the shit out of him. He loves these kind of sappy things. He loves like junior high music type. Like his wife always makes fun of like how he's got like the taste of a junior high girl. And I love a lot of that stuff too. Like Ed Sheeran. And he actually got me into Ed Sheeran, but like fucking, Miley Cyrus, some Taylor Swift songs, whatever it is, it's like, Miley Cyrus I love. There's a bunch of shit. The Call Me Maybe is a really great song. But whatever. Him being like, liking those kind of sappy shows, liking sappy songs, love songs, him being married, him like, kind of just like, reminding me like, oh yeah, this was a part of who I was before I like became embittered and before I started like, I think it's kind of sexist in a way if like someone in the gender you like hurts you and then you're like, oh, this is how they are, this is how women are, and you kind of like gain a shield or whatever because you've been hurt. There's like a level of like sexism or whatever. So it's kind of like breaking down that wall or breaking down that barrier. Yes, wall and a barrier, same fucking thing, but like breaking down that guard and saying like, oh, well, fuck, man, like, yeah, what is it I want, or what is it I think about? Like, it's not about the experiences I've had happen in the past. That's like lost. The sunk lost fallacy, is that what it is? Yeah, the past is gone. So let it go. What is it I want to do now? Not based on what I could lose or what I've lost. What is it I want to do? And I think I'm definitely if a situation arises, would date a girl and be good to her and stuff like that. I thought about this a lot. Like even this month, one of the books I read was called The 5 Languages of Love, and it was such a mind-blowing book, such a fascinating book. There were like points where I was reading it and I'd start to cry because like I'd be like, oh my god, I was doing this to someone and like I didn't realize, how did I not see how much of an asshole I was being? Like, I was doing this to someone I was in a relationship with and I was treating them this way, and it would just make me cry because I was so fucking sad about like, holy shit, I did that and I didn't even realize it. So that book was a very cool eye-opener. But going back to just being in love, being open to love, being at my core, that's like something I've always been into, something I'm still into, something I think about a lot, something I've like sung about a lot, but it's only really been over the last 4 or 5 years that I've really kind of turned myself off from that. And I don't think that's really me being myself. It's more being a reaction to the pain or to the vulnerability or to the risk of being oneself, more of a reaction to that. I'm also very idiosyncratic and weird, and I come up with excuses. Oh, this girl wouldn't like me because of this, but then I think of like, oh, I've had 4 really awesome chicks like be in love with me before, maybe 3, but like that's enough that you're like, okay, these are really cool, not like broken down ladies, really cool, awesome ladies that have like totally dug me. It's gonna happen again. I should be open to it. I should be more than open to it. I should be, luck favors the prepared. Like my room's so much more clean. So many of my aspects of my life are so much more gotten because of this podcast. Because like Christina Pazinski and him talk so much about like, dating girls, why she was into him, what kind of, and I haven't been following a lot of the advice of that, which is just to be not overly sexual. They talk about that, like how annoying guys are that are like overly sexually or overly flirty or things like that. And it's like, I know that's annoying and it doesn't really work and it's stupid, but it's a guard, again, of like not having a real interaction or not having like true intimacy. So I'm just thinking about that more and thinking about like, yeah, okay, it's probably time I open myself to opportunity, to chance of meeting someone or whatever, or being in a relationship, and then if I am in it, to be good to them. This is kind of off track now, but your podcast, your Mom's House podcast, really shows you too, like how having separate lives is really important. They talk about that, having separate interests, being not being so codependent, not being these things that I've really fallen prey to and things I've had issues with before, and I've really grown and changed through this podcast. I don't know if I've done a very good job of explaining how, but it's really helped me reframe my life, my wants, and my goals, because it's really shown me kind of a potentiality that I think is really appealing as far as maintaining your independence, maintaining your credibility, your integrity. They really, I think, have shown that path. Everyone's path. They've just shown a really, really cool path, and they've worked really hard, and seeing their hard work and seeing like the success they're having now and that they've accumulated through the years, and the success they're gonna keep getting bigger. And like her first special's coming out soon, and I saw her twice this year run it, and it was awesome. And I saw him in Reno earlier. So I've seen him like 2 or 3 times. Maybe just twice. But I just love them. I love the podcast. It's a great thing to look forward to. It's always fun. And I love that it's opened me up to love more so. And show me again, like that whole fucking just be cool, treat, like that's, he's like, it sounds so horrible to say it, but just like, he's like, I always just treated them like people. And it's like, and instead of like sex objects, or instead of something that you wanted out of them. And I've just made that mistake so much, but I've realized like a guard, because I know it doesn't work, 1, B, and 2, it's like, that's all I would want. So it's like, you're just getting rejected on a small front, but if you're getting rejected on like a whole front, like, hey, I really like you and I want to take you out. Not just like, hey, I want to fuck you, but like, hey, I really want to get to know you. And I'm not saying you would say this, but with those intentions, and you get rejected on that front, that's a lot more painful than just like, yo, you want to suck this dick? Are you done? Or whatever. I don't care. Somebody else will. Then to be like, then to ask like, on a sincere date or with sincere intentions. And just like, I feel like meditating is like cleaning the plaque off your teeth of your brain. It's like, I want to clean the plaque off my like stupid ideas about women and stupid ideas about relationships and stupid ideas, because I just have a lot of dumb ideas. And the sunk loss fallacy, now that I'm learning about that, just realize you just cut your losses and fucking, sometimes you make a bad investment, but you gotta cut your losses, and don't let that bad investment keep you from making good investments. Because I don't know, man, I mean, I like my life a lot and I'm excited about stuff, but it's weird to not like have someone to share it with. And I wonder, like, would I rather be like Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer, Would I rather be like someone like Mark Mayer, Bill Maher, who's like single, and like when they're older and they're, you know, obviously I want to be successful in that realm too, but just to see, like, for me, the Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer scenario where you have kids and like a family, that just feels more awesome. But then it's like, am I able to do that? Do I have the mental and emotional capacity to do that? Am I the kind of person who can get married? Maybe Mark Maron was smart enough to know he was too fucked up. My arm's like kind of getting skinnier, you know? I'm excited. Look how that fucking farmer's tan. I'm mostly, I guess, I was just getting too deep, too intense for me. I don't know. I have a lot to think about. But I do know that I'm ready to work really, really hard. And I'm ready to be open to love. And I'm ready to be open to fixing the things that are bad about me. And fixing the aspects of myself that are weak. And strengthening the aspects of myself that are weak. And hopefully de-strengthening the aspects of myself that are damaging emotionally to other people and damaging to myself. And now I'm just talking words. I'm really stoned. I mean, if you listen to your Bob's House podcast, you know what I'm talking about. You love them. I love them. Tom Segura, Christina Pazsitzky. Tom Segura and Christina Pazsitzky are two of my favorite comedians ever, and fuck yeah, man! I'm really thankful that I got to see them on the Joe Rogan Experience. I'm really like their show's so funny. It's just laughs and laughs and laughs all the fucking time. I'll be lifting weights, watching it, and they'll be laughing, and it's like dangerous, dude. It's like dangerous sometimes. So, thank them for the laughs and the fun. I just want to thank them for all the fun, laughs, and good times, because they're just the best, and their show, it's just the best thing, and they do it every fucking week, man. It's like, I love it as much as I love South Park, and they do it like every fucking week. So it's too cool. Thanks for listening to the Here podcast. Back to like a regular style episode next time. Oh, just real fast, what I wanted to say, an overall point, is just that, you know, last year where I listened to when I listened to all their episodes and listened to them, the whole thing, my favorite drop, probably the one that I was like walking down the street. I don't even want to do it because it's like an Asian dude and his dogs are fucking and they get caught fucking, and I could do the impersonation of the drop, but I don't even want to. There's so many fucking drops because they take audio clips from videos on the internet or whatever, and they're so funny. But that drop, when this Asian guy was talking about his dogs fucking and getting caught, like I was walking down the street and I like laughed like an insane person. I was listening on my headphones and I was just I looked insane. Anyway, but to be really sad, and I think, you know, everyone has sadness, everyone has different levels of sadness, but I also feel like the only person's sadness I know is my own. And going back to last year where I was completely not open to like being in a relationship, completely not open to dating or to having any kind of real intimate connections on like a intellectual, emotional, actual level, where I wasn't ready for that. Having a show that was so funny to just spend, like literally, it's like all I spent my time doing 2016 was listening to the episodes. It made me laugh so much all the time, and it got me through that year. And I love that, and I'm so thankful for that. That's just such a cool thing to find something that funny and that poignant, that genius, that it's goofy, it's everything I love, and it just blew my fucking mind. and it made my year. I don't even like know what I would have done last year without it. And to kind of come out the other end of it being a really different person, I don't really know what I would have done without either, because so many of the things I do in my life are really based off of listening to that podcast and seeing what I felt like I needed to do to get where it was that I wanted to be. And I hadn't really seen that before in kind of a physical manifestation. And then I did. And can't even imagine my life without that show. So thank you, Tom Segura and Christina Pajitsky, for the infinite laughs. Thank you very much. You guys are the funniest and the best. Bye. Love you, mommies. Thanks, Jeans. Love you, mommies. Thanks, Jeans. And oh my gosh, the guests are so good on the show too. Yoshi Obayashi, Matt Fultron, Sam Tripoli. I'm sure there's so many others. I can't think. When Joe Rogan's on, it's amazing. There's so many guests on. Yoshi Obayashi, you're the best guest ever. So, the first time I saw Tom Segura, what happened was my mom got me tickets for my birthday to see the Book of Mormon. I love Trey Parker and Matt Stone. So the thing is that we got tickets for the early show, but we showed up for the later show. So we just missed the show, which was a bummer, of course, because I was like, oh shit, I wanted to see that. But at the same time, it's not a big deal at all too. So I'm kind of in the back of my mind like, cool, because I want to go see Tom Segura, because this is in Sacramento and Tom Segura is playing at the Punchline in Sac, and it's sold out. But I'm like, fuck it, I want to fucking see Tom Segura. And my mom, which is awesome because the podcast is called Your Mom's House Podcast, she went to the dude and was like, told him like, look, I fucking got on these tickets. We missed the fucking date, and can you please get us in? And the guys at the Punchline in Sac, which I'll forever be thankful for, because seeing him live and meeting him really changed my life. Like, it was so cool. Like, it was awesome fucking meeting. I just met him for a second, but I was like super nervous and silly, of course. But like, anyway, we got in the freaking show, and it was fucking incredible. It was the best. It was so fucking funny. It was great. And then to see him do that same hour, he has a follow-up to a Mike Tyson bit that he did in Sacramento, but then he put it on the Mostly Stories album. So he didn't perform it when he played in Reno. It was just like crazy. It's crazy to see like that progression of an hour. Some comedians doing an hour, because that's what comedians do. They make hours, and the really good comedians make an hour, and then they make another, and then they make another. Just like good artists, they don't just rely on the stuff they did. Again, coming back to the sunk cost fallacy, which is that the past does matter, but not as much as the future. And so it's like, I love that Quentin Tarantino quote where he's like, every time I make a movie, every time I'm done making a movie, I start with a blank page, and it's like I'm the one who has to make it great. And if you have that attitude and you don't bullshit yourself and you work really hard, you probably will make really good stuff. And that's fucking a cool aspect of being a human being. I think you have to be in like your right field. What is that like? You can't have a fish swim, or you can't have a fish fly and a bird swim. You can't have a fish swim. That was stupid. So seeing him was just really cool, and meeting him after the show was neat, and it was just cool. And he signed this poster over here. That was just the... and I should put the fucking Instagram photo up on this episode too. He signed this it says, "I'm poly and I'm bi. Extra tickets?" ? Because they were sold out, so I made that sign. But my mom fucking regulated it. I didn't have to do it. And most people who go to Tom Segura's shows, I think, probably don't listen to the podcast, or maybe half and half or something. But I'm poly and I'm bi doesn't make sense to most people. But that's why you gotta fucking watch the show and get into it, you know? Then I fucking see Christina Pazsitzky the next April. And I saw her do the early show and the late show, and I was excited to do that. And it was really cool because, like, I'm walking in the Punchline Sack, and, like, I look to my right, and I just see, like, her silhouette in black. And I'm like, fuck, that's Christina Pazsitzky. And, like, I love her albums, and same with Tom Segura, too. Like, not just watch their specials, fucking listen to the albums, too. Don't just watch the specials, listen to the fucking albums. And her fucking hour, none of her old jokes from the fucking special is on the fucking hour. I mean, so none of the fucking jokes from her old CDs, rather, is on her hour. She did like a completely new hour for her new special. And most comedians, they just do like a best of all the stuff they've ever done from their old albums for their first special, and then the next one they do it and they do a new hour. But she just came right out the fucking bat with a brand new hour. It's fucking really fucking funny. Like, it was hilarious. And so it was really cool because she came, like, we saw her the first night, and I was like, I didn't know she didn't do a meet and greet at that show. She does at some other shows because I've seen pictures. There's like a group called Your Mom's House podcast group on like Facebook. We're all mommies. We love the show. Anyway, so she didn't do a meet and greet, and I was like, I didn't know that at the time though, but whatever. She's doing her show. I'm laughing a ton. It's great. It's funny. It's awesome. And then as she's getting off the stage, I'm like clapping, and I think I might have stood up, and I felt kind of embarrassed because some people didn't stand up, which is stupid because she's fucking incredible, and her hour was so good, and like she was really powerful, and I like clapped, and I was like, fuck yeah. And like as she's walking, I'm like, you're the best, Christina. And she's like, thanks. And she like touched my back real fast. And I was like, fucking, I'm touching both the mommies. Like, I've had acknowledgments, and it sounds so stupid, but I'm just like, they're like Elvis to me. Like, fuck Elvis, dude. It's all about Tom Segura and Christina Pazsitzky. Anyway, so then the next show, the late show, we sit up closer, and I'm like, oh shit's about to go. And like, shit, if you sit up close to a comedian, like, you're asking for it. You're just asking. And she said she came out, and she was like, she's like, why is there a fucking, alarm, or why is there a fucking, I'm really butchering her shit already. Why is there a fucking metal detector as you guys walk in? You're like the whitest audience ever. Look at this guy. He looks like an albino Mennonite. Or I think at the time she's like, somehow it came out where she said I looked like an albino Mennonite. I think the first thing she said was I looked like an albino. Like, look at this guy, he's practically albino. And then later on, she's like, because I had a bigger beard at the time, she's like, you look like a Mennonite. You look like an albino Mennonite. Like, do you know what that feels like to get roasted by one of your favorite comedians ever? It was the coolest shit. Anyways, I'm glad I added this tag because I just thought of those stories as I was working on the episode to upload. Yoshi Obayashi is the greatest guest of the Your Mom's House podcast. It's just the truth. It's just the way it is. No one is he goes deep. Alright, thanks for listening to the podcast. Love you, mommies. Thanks, jeans, as they would say on the show. Check it out. Also, if you watch this episode, that's pretty cool. If you would listen to this podcast, that's pretty cool. I think you're cool. Thanks for hanging out.